Christian Whiton joins us now, former State Department official. Christian, Iranians, some of them, are celebrating President Raisi's death. They're setting off some fireworks. Iran appears vulnerable. What should Biden's policy be now? Take advantage of that vulnerability?
It should. We should have a concerted effort of political warfare and economic warfare, which is a part of political warfare against this regime. The people obviously don't like the government. That's why the government never takes the chances with fair elections. It only has elections where approved candidates can run. Raisi was hated by the Iranians. He's known as the Butcher of Tehran for being a hanging judge, someone responsible for a great number of executions in the 80s. And it's, there's a possibility he was actually bumped off. This could have been a helicopter accident, or it could have been an intentional accident caused by Khamenei, the supreme leader who would like his son to be his successor. He didn't want Raisi to be his successor. So there's tension that can be exploited.
The U.S. and Saudi Arabia are close to a historic security deal. It would normalize relations between the Saudis and Israel. Does the death of Raisi and the foreign minister make an agreement more likely?
It shouldn't, and the agreement, I think, should be taken with a grain of salt. First of all, it has some conditions that just cannot be met, such as acceptance of Palestinian statehood and an agreement between Israel and the Palestinians in order to get Saudi recognition. Really, it could actually be viewed as the Biden administration just trying to put pressure on Israel to call a ceasefire in Gaza and pack it in. The nuclear agreement also has an interesting part. This is a so-called 1-2-3 agreement, would allow Saudi Arabia to enrich uranium. Other 1-2-3 agreements in the Gulf we've had with the UAE do not do that, because that process can be used to make a nuclear weapon. And if the Saudis are allowed to do it, the other people we have agreements with will want that agreement. So you could have this security arrangement could make the region less secure.
Well, that's interesting. This possibility of a deal, though, did the Iranians and their proxies start the war in Gaza because they didn't want this deal to go through?
I think it's always been a little unlikely that you have imminent normalization between Saudi Arabia and Israel. So I think it's just an opportunity they saw with the weak United States that's distracted elsewhere, and some of these Iranian proxies feeling the need also to justify their own existence on the payroll. So Iran has seen an open door generally with the Biden administration, and just decided, I think, to choose the time to exploit it more so than any possible decision by MBS, the de facto ruler of Saudi Arabia, to normalize.
The president used his commencement speech at Morehouse to renew calls for a ceasefire in Gaza. Does that demand change given Raisi's death?
I don't think so. The administration really is in a tough position with key supporters, including Muslim voters in Michigan, who aren't numerous but could be decisive in a close election, who are essentially, having this big division in the Democratic Party that Biden is trying to paper over. That's what's behind his call for a ceasefire. Ceasefire actually means just the end of the war, and that Gaza will continue as a political force and continue to run part of Gaza, if not all of Gaza.
Christian, I know it's early days. I mean, this accident happened only just yesterday. But so far, I've not seen much realignment of policy or position by any of the players in the Mideast. Everything's kind of quiet, strangely enough. You agree with that?
I do, and I think that just shows that the real leader of Iran, of course, is Khamenei, the supreme leader, and now likely in the future his son. Khamenei is 85 years old. So nothing really has changed that much is politically in the Middle East because of this.
Well, it should, in my opinion. Christian Whiton, I'm waiting for some impact. I've not seen it just yet, but we will see you again very soon. Thanks a lot, Christian.